Hi, I'm Craig from Premier Concrete Design, and I'd love to talk to you about the most frequently asked questions that we get asked on a regular basis. Now, the number one question is, how much do polished concrete floors cost per square metre? Now, you can search the internet, high and low, and you will struggle to find a definitive answer to this question. One of the reasons I would suggest is companies don't want to give their pricing to their competitors. But in their defence, there are several factors that do affect the price of a floor. One of them being the size of the floor. So a large floor can be completed in the same amount of time or same amount of days as a small floor with many of the same costs. So a larger floor typically does have a smaller cost per square metre. Another factor, albeit a small factor, are travel costs. The further away you are from a prospective company, the more travel costs there are associated with that. So that does have a small bearing on the price of the floor. Not a great deal on a larger floor, but it will affect the price of a smaller floor. Complexity affects the price. So if your space is broken into lots of smaller rooms, it might mean that we have to split the floor over several days, over the pour of the floor over several days. So that will have a bearing on the price per square metre. Now, our floors typically cost between £100 and £200 a square metre. I know I'm not being very helpful with the price prediction for you, but because of the factors above, it's hard for me to give a definite answer. Every floor has a different price. So the way we price is, we have some values in a spreadsheet. We figure out how long it's going to take us. We put the size of the floor in. We put the distance away. The spreadsheet automatically calculates the price per square metre, and we feed that back to the customer. It's really easy, as I've just discussed, to produce a quote for you. So if you get in touch with a plan, your postcode, tell us a little bit about your project, we can get a quote back to you quite quickly. Can underfloor heating be used with polished concrete floors? In short, absolutely. We recommend that you use underfloor heating with a polished concrete floor. It gives the floor a lovely warm feel underfoot in the winter. Now, your pipes sit about 80 mil below the surface, because our floor makeup is 100 mil. Your pipes are typically 20, so 80 mil below the surface. When you initiate the heating, it probably will take about 25 to 35 minutes for you to feel a difference in the floor. Once it has heated up, your floor has a large thermal mass, so it's like a massive radiator which will give off heat very slowly through the night, allowing your heating system to tick on and off, and it's really efficient in that way. On the flip side of this, in the summer, when it's warm, your floor stays nice and cool. So it has the ability to pull heat out of the room, keeping you cool in the summer. At what point in our project do you come to install a polished concrete floor? So one of the main requirements for installing the floor is that you're watertight. So that means your windows and your doors are in. Once you're watertight, your on-site team can put your insulation in and your underfloor heating. Then you're ready for us to come and install your beautiful polished concrete floor. What is the process of installing a polished concrete floor? So once you're watertight and your on-site team have installed your insulation and your underfloor heating, we're free to come in and install your floor. So the first stage for us is preparation stage. We'll arrive on site with our team. We'll put a perimeter foam around the outside, which allows for expansion. We'll cover your beautiful doors to ensure that they're pristine when we've finished. And then we'll install a crack control mesh, which is basically a steel mesh, which we use to limit the chance of the floor cracking. Once the preparation is complete, the fun begins. We get to install your floor. So we'll arrive about 7 o'clock in the morning. We'll have the pump set up, the concrete will turn up. Once the concrete's there, we'll start pumping the concrete in. We'll screed the floor, apply a colour of your choice, and allow it to firm up for a couple of hours. Once it's firmed up and enough for us to walk on, we can power trowel the floor. We do this intermittently throughout the day, creating the finish on the day. Okay. The next day, we'll turn up, we'll cut your crack control joints in, at predetermined points. We'll have discussions about this. Then we will cover the floor and allow you to carry on with the rest of your build. Once you've completed your build, we'll return a minimum of 28 days after. It's a minimum of that. We have to allow the concrete to cure, but it can be typically 6 months afterwards, sometimes longer than that, depending on how fast your team are on site. We'll come back once all the other trades are finished. We'll remove the cover, we'll sand the floor, we'll wash the floor, we'll seal the floor, and then we'll hand over a beautiful, pristine, polished concrete floor ready for you to move in or open your commercial space. Now, we do it last because we're looking to control the accidents that can happen on the floor. Trades dragging things, accidentally dropping their tools. We want your floor to be pristine, and that's why we're the last through the door. Another question we get asked on a regular basis is, will I need crack control joints in my polished concrete floor, and what will they look like? Well, unless your floor is smaller than 6 meters in any direction, it's likely that you're going to need crack control joints. The reason being, we have to allow for expansion and contraction in the floor, and these cut joints will allow for this. Now, the crack control joints are only 3 millimeters thick, and we put a RAL coloured silicone, so we'll match it to the floor as best we can, insert that into the crack control joint to blend it into the floor. We can be creative in where we place these joints. We place them roughly every 6 meters, sometimes under stud partition, sometimes under furniture, sometimes under kitchen islands. Sometimes we can make it look as if it's part of the design, so we may zone different areas of the room, for argument's sake, your dining room to your kitchen. If it needs a crack control joint, if it's over 6 meters, what better place than to put one there? What colours are available for polished concrete floors? From our perspective, at the time of recording, we have 9 standard colours, going from your off-white through your standard grey colours, a little bit warmer, such as a cream buff, through to your darker colours. We also have the ability to provide custom colours. So if one of the standard colours isn't quite perfect, isn't quite what you want, we can create something that is. Now, a question we get asked from time to time is, does a polished concrete floor stain and scratch easily? In short, no. Polished concrete floors have good scratch and stain resistance. We use the best sealers, and the sealers available in the market today are really good. They've come on a lot in 10 years, and they are fit for purpose. So if you spill a glass of red wine, you'll have plenty of time to run and grab a cloth. Also, chemicals or liquids that you'll work with in everyday use, such as fats when you're cooking, acidic liquids like lemon juice or vinegar. As long as they're cleaned up in good time, you'll have no problems. Sometimes problems occur if these things are left overnight, but if we're looking after our floor and we'll clean them up in good time, there'll be no problems at all. The sealers are excellent at holding back anything you spill on them. They'll just sit on the surface. The same with scratch resistance, really good scratch resistance. If you did manage to scratch the floor, there's no need to panic. We can return. We're really good at hiding or repairing any damage that you may have caused to the floor, and we can reseal the floor and get it looking good as new. Now, that's just about covers the most frequently asked questions that we get asked on a regular basis. I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, don't be afraid, pop them below. If you found this video on my website, don't be afraid to pick up the phone, give us an email, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you got personally. Thanks for watching.